The problem-solving power of mathematics and logic, combined with the speed and accuracy of a machine for carrying out these operations, is the basis of the computer revolution. But does this mean that a computer can produce a new idea or make an original contribution to knowledge? We asked this question of both Professor Nagel and Dr. Hammond.
It depends entirely on what you mean by a new idea. In some senses, the machine only produces what you expect. On the other hand, you do not foresee all combinations. The machine often produces a combination which you had not foreseen and have the impression of novelty.
Well, of course, the question as to whether machines or computers are capable of original thought or of making original contributions to knowledge is a very much debated one, but before one can properly discuss it, it seems to me it's very important to distinguish between two senses in which a statement or an idea might be said to be original. The two senses are the psychological sense of originality and the logical sense of originality. And I think perhaps the best way of making this distinction clear is first with an illustration. When a child is given an elementary arithmetical problem, for example, to find the sum of two numbers, when he gets the answer, the conclusion is something that is novel or new to him. So psychologically, of course, he gets the sense of having made a discovery. Nevertheless, the answer is something that is necessarily or logically implied in the premises or the assumptions, and the process of thought here simply is to unravel or make explicit what was already contained in a logical sense in the premises. I think I risk going out on a limb here and say that it seems to me that on the basis of our present conceptions of the capacities of computers as well as the actual ones that have been constructed, that computers do not come up with logically new ideas, and unless the nature of the beast
emphasize the material aspects, how much we will have of this and that, how much leisure, what wonderful new